Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny with another update for you, and it's great to be back with you again after some vacation time. I'm going to read from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 13, and it says this: "Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, so that you may be able to withstand on that evil day, and having done everything, to stand firm." This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. You know, the Message version of the same scripture passage starts out saying, "Be prepared. You're up against more than you can handle on your own." And isn't that the truth? Like, we are up against so much these days. That's not news. That has been true for a long time, but I know that the resurgence of COVID and the Delta variant is weighing on us heavily, even more. And it's so frustrating. We're just so many feelings and so much frustration, and the world news is scary and dismal, and so much. There's so much that we have to withstand and that we have to find a way through. I wonder, as we think about this passage, if you've ever had a uniform that you have worn, or maybe you have acted in a play or a movie or something where you've had a costume that you have put on, or maybe even just a Halloween costume. And I invite you to go back and remember what it has felt like to put on that uniform or to put on that costume. And how did it transform you? How did it change your mind and your mindset about how you move through the world, or what authority you had, or what your role was? How did it change the way you held your body and the way you physically move through the world? Maybe you're someone who has a uniform that you wear every day because of where you work, or where you go to school, or something like that. But how does that change something of who you are? Your affect, your feeling, your sense of yourself, your sense of your role. Well, this is part of what God is inviting us to do, is to put on a uniform, an armor, a suit of armor, a costume, something that helps us to claim more fully God's help for us to move through this world. We're going to dive into that a whole lot more on Sunday, but I invite you again to think about the power of a uniform or a costume or a certain best feeling set of clothes, outfit that you would take to a certain situation. How does that affect you? And what do you, how does something from the outside affect you inside? I also think about this in terms of our masks. You know, we've all have a collection of masks now, and it's someplace, even if you are less of a mask wearer these days, have to wear a mask at times. And how does that affect you? How does that change your mindset or your thinking or how you move through the world? So just some reflection on that ahead of Sunday. But I do want to also just note a couple of things. A lot is going on in our church, as always. Two big things that are happening. One is the reopening, and we're headed toward fall kickoff, and I'm going to say more about that in a second. But the other thing is a partnership that we have that's been emerging with Kingston United Methodist Church. So I just want to say a couple things about each of those for a moment. You know, as we move toward fall kickoff, and as the Delta variant is getting stronger, and there's just so much that's involved in all of this. A lot of feelings, a lot of emotions, a lot of decisions that you have to make for yourselves and your family, that we have to make as a church community. It's a lot, and it's complicated, and it's exhausting, and it's frustrating, and it is just really, really challenging. So I just want to name again that it's hard. And as we move to fall kickoff and as school starts up again, remember that fall kickoff is that time that we launch all the fall programming. So youth group starts up again, children's ministry, Sunday school stuff starts up again, choirs start up again for all ages, and we do a new worship series that starts, and we just sort of relaunch our church program year. And this year it's challenging because we need to do that in multiple spaces, and we don't expect that everybody's going to come in person to do that. In fact, we don't want that. We can't fit everybody in the sanctuary all at once and in our space. But we also know that there are many of you who can't come and who don't feel comfortable coming, and for any number of reasons, not even just COVID, that you need to be remote as you re-engage in the fall, or continue to be engaged or engage in a new way. And that's all good too. We are working hard to be a hybrid church, to be there for you, to be here for you, whether you're in our PUMC sanctuary, whether you're on our online campus or worshiping online with us, whether you are part of the Kingston congregation or interested in checking them out and understanding more. That's part of our presence. We're being present in a number of different ways, trying to give everybody access and everybody kind of good, high quality, enriching, engaging experiences in all of those spaces. So I just want to name that we don't have expectations that you will be in person or that you will be online, or you be where you need to be in those spaces, and we will do our best to be there with you and be there for you as well. We just know that it's a lot of decisions, it's a lot of risk, it's a lot of challenge, and some of us are more comfortable than others, but I just want to name that. But fall kickoff is September 12th, and that's the Sunday after the kids go back to school, or at least the Princeton area kids go back to school. It's the Sunday after Labor Day, and we'll start a new worship series called Emerging. It's going to touch on all these different things about emerging from the pandemic, and while we're still in the pandemic, and a number of things related to, I hope, related to what many of us are experiencing these days. We also are starting a newcomers group a couple weeks after that. And if you are new among us and are interested in becoming more part of us, that would be a great way to connect. More about that. There will be more as you hear. You'll get more information about that over these next few weeks. But the other thing is our Kingston partnership. This coming Sunday, August 22nd, we're going to be having a town hall meeting at Kingston for the Kingston congregation. But part of what we're doing there is inviting them to ask questions about this. There's a lot more questions than there are answers, but there's still things that we can talk about and share, and even when we don't have complete answers, we have thoughts and we have ideas and we have things that we are working toward as we find answers to those. So I wonder, Princeton congregation, what are your questions around this partnership? What are you wondering about? We are going to be looking at some of those questions and trying to give some answers over these next few weeks and months. So I encourage you to send your questions in to me. That would be a wonderful thing. So with that, know that you are loved. You are enough because God is enough. You are beloved. And I look forward to seeing you very soon.